Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today's video we're going to go over a low investment build for Sharon. A lot of times when I look up builds for different characters, they are great and incredible builds. The problem is they put energy activators in each one. Every slot has a catalyst. It's crazy. And the amount of time required, I'm just looking for something that gets the job done, you know? I don't need the super powered version. And nothing against them, but what I'm looking for is something that I can use now that I don't have to spend too much time and effort in because I need these amorphous patterns that you only get through the infiltration on these Vulgas Outposts. So that's what we're going to do today. This is the one that I use. She serves me very well, does her job, gets done what I need to do. So let's get in here. We'll take a look and see exactly how I've got her set up and the reasons why, and also give you some pointers on how to get these done. So the first thing I want to point out is I have not expanded her module capacity. She is 60 out of 60. I have not put an energy activator in. So this is a pretty low investment version. However, the modules I have put a lot of effort into. So the first one here is specific to Sharon. It's Battlesuit Melting Rounds. And the reason I use this is because it drops my module capacity. As you can see, this thing actually only takes up 5 spots. Um, you get those red translucent modules from doing activities. You can look it up in the game to see where to find one that fits for Sharon. And as you increase this enhancement level for this module, the capacity cost actually goes down. So you're getting some benefits and it's lowering the cost. However, if you look down there, you see it can get really expensive when you get to the end there. I actually had quite a bit of money in Kyber saved up, so I was able to push this forward. Now you'll see I'm at 58 out of 60. And that Battlesuit Melting Rounds is only costing me 3 spots. So if you can get these and find the ones that you want to apply to your character, they're always a good investment. I mean, it's only going to be 3 once you get it to the end. It's free abilities. But like I said, man, it does get expensive. So be aware of that. And this Battlesuit Melting Rounds is the only module that's specific to Sharon. Everything else in this build, any character can use. Um, I like to go as far as my grappling hook. You can put your shock punch in, a tonfa, kicking, midair maneuvering. I go for the long distance maneuvering. It's just what I like, and to be honest, in this case, it's personal preference. Whatever you decide you want to put there, go for it. But let's take a look at the rest of these modules, and I'll show you the direction we're heading in there. Now, I know I said that this was a low investment build, and when you look at these modules, you could see that I've maxed almost all of them out. But the reason I still consider this low investment is because these modules are something that I would put on any character. They aren't specifically built just for her. And in fact, these modules you'll find on most of the builds I run, especially like a mobbing run or that kind of a build. These are modules I've already advanced that I just plopped onto her. So let's take a look at Sharon just blankly. She's only got 2 slots that are set to something. The top one there is an X or a Xantix slot, and then the bottom one is the Maldine. We're not actually going to make use of that bottom one, but we do have a maxed out module that we are able to put into Xantix, so that cuts it down from the normal 16 that it would be down to an 8, which is great. But the first module I want to talk about is increased defense. So it's costing us 16 slots, but this is one of the best modules that you can have. And I use this, like I said, on all of my characters. Um, what defense does is it just mitigates damage. It takes some of the damage you're going to be taking when an enemy hits you, and it reduces it. And it reduces it blankly. So it doesn't matter what it's coming from, whether it's a monster, a fire effect, a special, anything. But yeah, increased defense is incredibly beneficial. The next thing I want to talk about is skills. And we actually have kind of a twofer here with Battle of Stamina, so we're going to come back to it. But you'll notice, maxed out, we're getting a skill duration of 8.8%. And that is critical because the invisibility is a skill, and we need as much time as we can in order to maneuver around these places to get all of those power units shut down in order to get a successful infiltration. And this Battle of Stamina not only has given us an HP that we're going to come back to, but it also gives us skill duration, which we're going to add to this, which is skill extension. This has given us 36%, 36.5, and I think I can actually put one more point into it, and since I'm down to 58, we may be able to do that. But yeah, this one's given us 36.5%, which is in addition to the 8 that we're getting from Battle of Stamina. So we're just a little over 40, and if you look on the side there, it says 45.3. We picked up a little extra somewhere else. I'll get to that in just a bit. But this is really crucial. This gives us as much time as we possibly can handle to do what we have to do once we get into those outposts. So between increased defense, skill extension, the last aspect that I want to cover is your HP. And as you remember, Battle of Stamina, it's giving us 122% increase in health in addition to the skill duration that we got. So this one's actually twofold and helping us out in two different ways, which is great. So these three modules here, they're going to give us increased defense, so we're a little tougher. They give us a bunch more HP, so we can take more damage, which makes us even more tougher, if that's a word. And the skill extension plus that extra bonus from Battle of Stamina is going to give us enough time. It actually takes us up around 15 seconds of invisibility so that we can get in there, hit all those power modules, and then have a little bit of time to set up in order to deal with the bad guys that we just created. The last module I run, which is also one that I like to run on most of my guys, is the HP collector. So once it's maxed out, every 2 seconds, which isn't very long, you're going to get 10% of your health back instantly when you defeat an enemy, and you're going to be killing things all the time. So in the event that we are taking damage, this is putting back 10% of our health every 2 seconds for the enemies that we're shooting. And that gives us a lot more sustainability. One of the issues with a low investment is you're kind of sacrificing something. In this case, we're being defensive. We got a lot of health and we got a lot of skill, but we don't have a lot of power. We're not doing a lot of damage. We're being sneaky, not strong. So that's basically what happens when you do a low investment build. But I'm not taking her into the mass battles. She is just getting these amorphous patterns through infiltration. And I'm happy with the way it's set up. And that HP collector is going to give you a little bit of health back for each person you kill. We've already got a decent amount of health, and we got a decent defense, and our skills are going to be long. So that's basically what we need. Now, I talked about picking up a little extra on my cooldown. And this reactor here that I have, I actually farmed for my ultimate bunny. So it's not perfectly matched for Sharen, but it's doing great for what we need to do. We get that skill duration up, that 0.105, and that's where I pick up just a little bit extra skill duration versus what the modules that I have inside on her are actually giving me. Now, her skill setup is mostly dimension and fusion, but she is an electric-based character. So as you see, the dimension is the invisibility. So if you can find a reactor that helps you buff or elongates dimension skills, this purpose will be, that would be good. As you can see, I'm getting 15.6 over a base of 10 seconds for her active camouflage. If you find something that can buff or works well with dimension-based skills in your reactor, that number potentially can go up. But for me, what I've got here is working just perfect for me. I've got no complaints. The last thing I want to talk about, something I didn't do right off the bat, make yourself some presets, man. You select an empty spot, save current settings, and whatever you've built will be there. You just have to remember, if you change equipment or need to change equipment, go back in here and readjust it. I didn't even rename most of them. I'm going to start renaming them just for clarity's sake. But yep, so I would suggest you make a preset. In this case, we're going to call it Stealth. And as far as building her, we're ready to go. So now it's time to actually get out there. So now that we've got our Sharen set up, let's actually go in and show how we're going to make this happen. Because the setup is only the first part. The second part is the execution. So what you have to do is each one of these Vulgas Outposts is going to have either 3 or 4 of these little power units, and they're usually by these towers. Once you get to the 4s, and in some cases they're kind of out there being a little secret, but you have to run up to those and interact with them while invisible. So we've got ourselves a decent amount of time that we're going to be invisible. Now is the part where we set up. Now you'll notice that I switched to my Thunder Cage because you get a lot more movement speed when you're holding something smaller like a handgun or submachine gun than if you're toting around something big like a launcher or a heavy machine gun. So what you want to do is get a light weapon and place yourself to where within the first second of being invisible, you're going to be able to hit the first power unit. That way you've got as much time as you can. We're going to jump around a little in order to get in here and get whatever ones are remaining. There is some leeway with this build, so as you can see I jumped around and swung a little bit, but I was able to get all three, and now that MP collector is going to help us because we got to deal with all these ads that we created. But over time we'll get taken care of, and we'll see if we can get a pattern out of this one. Now, like I said there, you need to position yourself in the beginning so that within that first second, a little hurt here actually, but got some interlopers, and between the MP collector or the health collector and the boxes they dropped, yeah, we're back up. So there we go, we're good, just like it never happened, starting all over again. But you want to position yourself, like I said, to where within that first second you can grab hold of that. Now I'm not going to use my grapple here, I'm just going to do some rolls and some walk / running. And once you get the pattern and the movement down, this isn't hard. It's a little scary when you first try to do it, but once you get the hang of it and you get used to your abilities and how long you've got, it's pretty easy to knock these out. The threes, once you get used to them, you'll be knocking these out left and right. No worries anymore. But position yourself properly, make sure you've got a good weapon that you can get some decent speed with, and you should be just fine with 15, give or take a little bit of time in order to get it done. Now, one of the issues though is after you've done enough of the threes, there are some out there that are going to be 4. And this is one of them, and here's an example of a little bit of a different movement track. Now, I've got some other players who have joined me on this one. We're not a fire team, but they're in there. You see, as soon as I jump in, I'm landing on one spot. We get the second one. Now we're going for the third. And finally, we're going to get the fourth. And you'll see I've got plenty of time here. I've got a full second or two of being invisible still. Something I want to point out is that when you come across somebody else who's trying to do this mission or wants to get those infiltration patterns, they come running up, you say to them, hey, stealth, and if they understand, then they just stay hidden until you get in and do what you need to do. But think of it from their point of view. When you're in there, you obviously know when you've got all of them, and you're ready to roll. But you don't want to go in there guns blazing once you've gotten all the power units discharged, because the other person needs time. They've been hiding this whole time. They're going to come running around. You need to give them a second or two to bring the rain down. So what I usually do whenever somebody that's not a friend and not in my fire team is going to help is once I've finished each one of the power units, you're going to see here I just start kind of blankly shooting. Here we'll just put some bullets here on there, and then I kind of just ease up. That gives the other players time to jump in here and get some shots in, because if you do it too quickly, then they're not going to be able to get their part of it. It's not going to include them in the fight. It'll be over by the time they show up. So just something nice. Now, I want to talk to you here. Here's a 4 power unit place where I'm doing this by myself. And I can get all 4 of these. I was able to do it, but I didn't like my positioning, and I needed more time. So what you do is get some of them and then run back out. Now, I'm not running so far as to cancel the event. You can see up there at the top, that timer's still rolling, and it gives you a good amount of time. As long as you stay hidden and give your skill, the invisibility, some time to cool down, you can reactivate it and go back in. So if you're experiencing a little trouble and you can't quite get to that last one in time, instead of trying to go for it, just step back out, reset, get your invisibility back, and then you can come in and finish it off. And now you'll see I can get myself positioned, because this one with 4 was making a whole bunch of enemies. So I wanted to be able to get my special off. And then in the process, somebody else came running along, and he joined me in this. So probably could have gone for the 4, but yeah, you can actually break it up into multiple attempts as long as you don't get seen and you don't run too far away. So just step back around the corner and give your invisibility time to reset, and then you can go back in still under the same infiltration. So the guy here that joined me actually was also on Sharon, and he messaged up that said he could help with hacking. And this is another thing that I want to bring to your attention. This is great because now instead of me having to get 4, I can get 2, he can get 2. And that works out really well, makes it easier for everybody. But don't assume that your buddy there is going to get both of them. He might run into somebody, there might be a little bit of a problem. So what I like to do is I get the one, and then I'll get the second one that I'm responsible for, and I'm listening to see if he gets the ones he needs. If he does, great. If he doesn't, then I'm going to be prepared to go get whichever one he's kind of lagging behind on. There's been a lot of times where I've had that happen, where the person I was with got hung up, or even I got hung up and the other person had to bail me out. So even though you got some friends, just make sure you pay attention, get your job done, and be there and ready to help, just in case they need it. So that's it, guys. This is a low investment Sharon. I hope this helps you if you're struggling with this or if you needed some advice. If you enjoy content like this, give me a like and subscribe. If this helped you out, please leave a comment below and say so. I'd love to hear back from you. And I'm out. As always, I'll see you out there. Take care.